What if thriving wasn't about getting life perfect?
but learning to find peace and purpose right in the mess.
I'm Kelsey.
And I'm Tom, and we walked away from the version of life that looked right to build one that feels alive.
We'll talk about the beauty and the struggle, from parenting and marriage to faith, well-being and travel.
This is The Whole of Us.
Last week we came to you from a romantic escape in Brisbane City.
Beautiful.
A kid-free time, all relaxed. It was great. Today we're coming to you from another different location because we've had a little bit of a house emergency.
Very different circumstances.
Yes, but praise God for this place that we find ourselves.
Oh my goodness.
We had water go through the house. We had a burst pipe in the bathroom. Couldn't for the life of us figure out where it was coming from because the bathroom was actually clear, but the floorboards were squelchy. So
Have you ever experienced it where you walk across boards and the water starts seeping up between all of the cracks and you hear the nice squelch?
well, I
sound?
thought initially one of the girls had tipped over one of their water bottles because it was in the middle of their bedroom.
Yeah.
And there's just this pile of water and I'm thinking, well, girls, but there's no water bottle and the damage is quite extensive.
So we very kindly had our insurance company come and put dehumidifiers and giant fans in the house. But it's a bit of a sensory overload with the noise.
Very, very noisy. And of course, like the game of insurance is they can't access like emergency funding for accommodation until it's all been approved and all the assessors have been out, and that just takes time. So you're just sort of rolling with it. And a family have offered to put us up in one of their accommodations. So we're just very thankful.
Very thankful.
But it also sparked the idea of how the last few years we've really coped with constant change.
Yeah.
The illusion of safety has been lifted, that life in an instant can change. You could lose your job, a fire could come, flooding, that it's like the lack of predictability is in life is what's predictable.
Exactly right. Exactly right. And it's a beautiful thing because it's something that we have deliberately chosen into
Yes.
in many regards through the last few years, particularly stepping away from the normal life that we were living.
Yeah.
But even upon reflection, as we did last week, the life that we've chosen has consistently been one where we've chosen out of the safe options and pushed into more. And inevitably, when you start doing that, things become unpredictable. You really can't rely on kind of, okay, well, I'm going to go to work this day and the girls are going to go to school and I'll have this space. And it's like we've got to become more and more flexible with how we think through life.
We've leaned into the discomfort in a way that I didn't think was possible.
Yeah.
And we've really had to learn that your external circumstances can change and you can still be okay.
Absolutely.
And so I think it's really interesting noticing what's coming up in just our bodies in leaving. So the extraction fans all go in. It's like you can't even talk to each other. We're thinking you could survive, but we could go out all day and just come home at night or something and close bedroom doors and things. But we work from home. The kids are homeschooled. That just wasn't going to be an easy solution. And then just starting to notice what was happening, the oversensitivity and to the noise, which for anybody would be difficult. But it felt very familiar in our bodies, this let's grab a suitcase and let's go. Couple years before we traveled overseas, we had fires in the area and we had a couple of, maybe like an hour to just quickly grab things and leave. And thankfully everything was fine. But the concept of trauma, and especially in high stress situations, is that your logic doesn't really matter, that your body picks up on the stress before your logic even goes. Like if we talk about the amygdala, which is your stress part of the brain that flings into fight or flight, it's your protector, your survival, that activates within 0.02 seconds.
Wild.
So you can't logic your way out of
A reaction.
Yes, essentially. And your body remembers the heart rates of the somatic experiencing. So it might think, oh, like the heart rate's increasing. I feel that sickness in my stomach. A smell it's very sensory, like your five senses, feel, touch, smell, sight, all those sorts of things.
And the crazy thing is it documents things that aren't even necessarily the actual pain point. So, for instance, with the house and the fire that came, the things that our brains would have been documenting were we have to leave, we have to pack a bag, we have to collect things because we're not sure when we're coming back. There's a time pressure. There's overwhelming like sense of I don't know what's happening and a lack of control.
Mm.
But even simple things of like what it felt like to jump in the car in a hurry, or
Yes.
what it felt like to run around and go, what do we actually need? How long are we going for? And
It's the sounds of that day too, like on a really windy day now. I can
yeah,
feel my heart rate increase a little bit.
yeah,
It's like if you've lived through a cyclone or a hurricane or something like that. There's this awareness, external awareness that registers in your body
yeah,
that
yeah.
is not a logicking out of it.
No, no. And so yesterday, as we were, we made the decision. Okay, well, staying here isn't an option. We're all going to go crazy with the fans on.
But
But what do
also,
we do?
there's the kids can't sleep in their rooms. There's water everywhere.
Yes.
It's survivable for sure. So when you're looking at it on the scale of like a bushfire coming, that's 10 out of 10. Like leaving Australia, traveling because you're in a mental, breakdown, and we didn't know what other options or whatever the story is. 8 out of 10. This is probably like a 2, 3 out of 10 on the scale of pain
Actual
or trauma and
emergencies.
emergency, right? But there was so much registering in us.
Well, there's similarities there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And what did you notice in terms of like, at what point were you like, oh, I think I'm in a little bit of like a flashback or a little bit of elevated
Yeah.
sense?
Well, I mean, classic response for me is to go into fix it, do it mode, which is very much a flight response. And I am unbelievably grateful for that response to a degree, because in moments like this, it enabled me to go, right, what do we need practically? We need some clothes. We need these things. We need podcasting gear so we can have a conversation. We need enough food to make it through the next few days. We need this, and this. And I'd run around the house in a fair whirlwind to collect all these things. And probably it's in the midst of doing this now that as I've sat with myself longer and noticed this response and this reactivity that I have to situations like this, I was able to go, I'm rushing here. I'm not just like calmly kind of moving around and going, yeah, actually, there's a need to be efficient, but there's not a need to panic rush or to miss you in the process or miss the girls in the process. And often that in my rushing and doing, I would be.
Well, I think for you as well, you're disconnected now from your emotions. You're disconnected from actually what's internally happening because you're in a survival state.
And that's what I was going to say. Like the thing that I would classically do is do this rush around, would make it past the emergency or the urgent situation that was in front of us. And then I'd immediately flip to logic and be like, oh, that's all okay now.
Yes.
I don't need to actually sit with the reality that my body was in a stress response then. And so I ignore it, but that energy hasn't left my system. And so the more aware I've become of what's going on in my own body, the more capacity I've had in the moment of rushing around to be able to go, I see you, Tom. I see that this is feeling a lot right now. And yep, it's okay that we're moving and we're doing and we're getting things sorted. And once things have settled enough, we're going to have time to sit with this and sit with the anxiety or the pain or the stress that was there and acknowledge it and move through it, not just ignore it.
Yeah, I think we have learnt through the last few years to like part of surviving is then to care for our nervous systems afterwards.
Yeah.
Because it stacks. Like if you don't expel that energy, it will affect every part of your life and how you're responding to the kids and how your ability to show up creatively.
Yeah.
For me yesterday, I actually thought it was all pretty fine. Not a big deal. Like it's really not, but home has become our safe place again. Sort of, I would say.
Well, we're intentionally leaning into that.
Yeah. And so I think that felt really difficult to leave a place that's become more and more safe to us.
Yeah.
I could feel the freeze I just felt really tired. And in the past, I've really blamed my fatigue on health issues. And I guess even like PTSD symptoms and things like that. not realizing that my fatigue is part of my freeze. And so I just start to feel really, really sleepy and really unhelpful. And I'm noticing that when we start packing things up more and more, it's this feeling of we need to suit up and prepare, like the amount of accommodations we would change and go to the next country, which was amazing. But there was a big fatigue in it
Yeah.
because every time we did that, it was stepping into another unknown, another country that we didn't understand, with systems we didn't understand, languages, etc. So I guess I was noticing that, just the sound of like suitcases and the energy, the leaving energy that happens, which we've done a lot of. And then just feeling overwhelmed by noise, which is generally me anyway, but my window of tolerance started to shrink. So starting to notice the kids tapping. It's like that shark music. Things just start closing in on
Yeah.
you. And then we were driving off and I just felt like I wanted to cry. And I was like,
Yeah.
wow, this is actually hitting me more than I thought. And past me would have tried to logic that and be like, Kelsey, it's just a water leak.
Yeah.
Super annoying. It's really close to Christmas. We had dreams and plans.
Yep.
Now I'm like, okay, well, let's just think of the similarities. It's the lack of control that's we're going to now rely on an insurance company, probably have to rip up all the floors in the whole house. How's that going to, like, how long will that take? It is close to Christmas. The coast where we live have had heaps of storms lately.
So builders are busy and it could take a while.
So it's the lack of control. It's also the catastrophizing. I think, what if mold gets everywhere? It's the trying to future trip and it's protection, right? We're trying to create as many problems in our brains that we can solve now, which is really unhelpful. So I just started to really sit on the drive down here, and then part of the self-care part and how we as a family have shown up is, so today we'll shoot this podcast, but otherwise we're just having a very slow family day. We're tending to our bodies. We're eating good food. Last night we had fish and chips because that required no cooking.
No cooking. Easy.
Yes, we watched family movies together and we just talked about it with the kids.
Yeah. So
the unknown for them is scary. And we've noticed that traveling as well, how often when we first started traveling, it was very, well, we just go here now, we go there now. They didn't really know what to expect. And we realized that was causing anxiety for them. So we ended up giving them calendars. So as far ahead as we knew. And often it was only a couple of weeks that we could, plan.
Yeah. That's, I guess, what I was going to go into is like, how have we helped the kids to deal with change?
I think it started with us.
Yeah. Yeah.
If we are losing our heads, running around like headless chickens, feeling a lot of fear ourselves, our kids will feel that.
Absolutely.
So part of that then is articulating our internal world where it's age appropriate and not in a scary way, but being like, oh, I feel a bit anxious about this. And not necessarily specifics. I'm trying to think of an example of just like, for instance, like no matter how many times we've flown, I'm always anxious on a travel day. Just the deadlines and the rushing and the energy in an airport is hectic, right? Everyone's stressed. So I'll say, I am feeling a little worried in my body and I can feel my tummy's tight. I articulate where in my body I'm feeling it and just explaining that energy, that what they're already picking up is actually happening. You're creating a congruency.
Absolutely. You're not denying the reality of what they're feeling by going, no, it's all fine. It's all fine. And we're great and everything's going to be okay and da-da-da-da-da. And
it's also not sitting in it and not showing them the way out.
Absolutely.
So, I feel anxious. I'm going to take a few deep breaths. This is why I'm anxious, or sometimes we don't know, right?
Yeah.
But
it's okay.
In a case where I do, I'm like, okay, so we're going to go a little bit earlier so we can actually sit and have a coffee at the gate.
Yep.
Got to see the gate, get a coffee, fill up our water bottles. Like, we create enough time and we walk the kids through the process, because if I just said I was anxious, they'll be like, oh my gosh, I need to be more worried about this.
Yeah. And I was just going to say, I think a big part of it too has been not putting let me rephrase that. Not putting any impetus on them that they need to fix the situation, that they're not responsible for our emotions. They're not responsible for making sure that things are going to be okay, that we have that in hand and that despite us feeling maybe a little bit off or a bit anxious about something or reacting in a way which is not exactly how we'd like to, that even with that, it's going to be okay.
Yes, it's a gentle, it's a balance, really, isn't it? Because we have to be
Absolutely.
really careful not to,
Dismiss the difficulty of a circumstance by, it's going to be fine, don't worry about it. Like,
or like lean in it to so hard and express every detail
Yeah.
that the kids are now afraid. It's really showing up in our humanity in a way that's hopeful.
Yeah.
So talking about what we're feeling and experiencing, not all the time, but if it's obvious enough that I'm experiencing some type of triggered response, then they feel it. They can feel my energy rushing around and yelling at everybody, or not yelling, but like urgently talking to everybody. And I think then that also gives them power in it.
Absolutely. Well, and it gives them permission to express the pain and frustration. And like even yesterday, as we were looking at options of what we do, the girls were taken a little bit off guard because they didn't know what was happening. They knew that there was some restoration guys there to look at the floor and look at how wet it was, and they didn't really know what they were going to do.
Yeah.
And so we'd said, all right, you can do some reading and do some drawing for a while in one of the bedrooms. And then we knocked on the door and opened the door. And as we opened the door, the fans are on, the humidifiers are on, and they're just like, what on earth is happening?
Yeah.
And the shock of that, when we kind of then said, hey guys, we're going to pack up and go, their immediate response wasn't, okay, this sounds great. It was like, no.
Here's a million questions.
This is a million questions and I don't want to do that. And this sounds too hard and it's not good. And so I guess
we could have done that better.
We could have done that better, number one. We could have prepped them and primed them much better. But in that moment, I had to catch myself because traditionally I would have gone, no, this is what we're doing and it's going to be fine and you'll be all right. Let's go. But slowing down enough to go, hey, yeah, I can see this actually feels a lot right now.
Yes.
Like this would feel really frustrating because you haven't known what's going to happen. And to get confronted with the noise and the impact of not being in our house.
Well, and this is our first Christmas in 3 years we will be home. And so we have Christmas plans at the moment that now are in jeopardy. We will be fine no matter what happens. But the girls are really, really excited about having Christmas and, doing the Advent readings every day and the Advent calendar. It was also creating a little bit of space just to sit with a little bit of that sadness. That when plans change, we can lean into the joy of the unexpected because we believe that it does end well. And they know that that is a core belief for us, that all things work together for the good. But there is still this humanity that's like, oh, I have this sadness that's coming up and I can't just ignore it.
Yeah.
I think what we did really well is we went outside because it was so noisy, inside, and just said, hey, this is where we're at. This is what we do know.
Yeah.
And it's age appropriate. There are obviously things that we keep from the kids because they couldn't comprehend it.
Yeah.
And then talking about what we do know, and this is the plan for the next few days.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And so giving them as much certainty as we can has been huge.
Even with the certainty, though, there's always this caveat of like, this is the current plan, but we know through the last few years that even the best laid plans don't always come to fruition.
No. So I guess from that place then, when there's been an acknowledgement of, yeah, this is challenging and yeah, we can trust that it's going to work out. Mm-hmm. What does it look like as we look back on many of these situations that we've been in as to how it has worked out? Because I guess for me, so many of these times where we've looked at a circumstance and gone, this sucks.
Yeah.
Like, what the heck is going on? And then you get a day down the track, a week down the track, a month down the track, and you go, oh my goodness, that was the best thing.
It's funny because we have huge examples of it all working out well, but we also have thousands of small moments. And so a value of our families or a priority or something that's important to us is to reflect on those things. So we have journals that we write down. And there are times when we're faced with uncertainty, like at the moment, where we need to sit down and be like, okay, where is every single circumstance that worked out better than we could have imagined?
Yeah.
Because in a triggered response, because your brain wants to protect you, it's going to be looking and filling all the gaps.
Absolutely.
And often those gaps are protective, right?
Well, they're worst case scenarios so that I can be okay even if the worst happens.
Exactly. So it's really important for us to work on those neuro pathways to connect to expect that good things will happen. Yeah. There have been many, many times life and death times while we were traveling,
Yeah.
like in war zone places that we had planned to go, and it ends up war breaks
Yeah.
out.
Or the dates that we were going to be in a country, an earthquake happened on those dates.
Yes.
But we
We didn't have peace
didn't
on it.
have a peace, or we didn't have, like, things just didn't work out how we wanted them to. And then
Or the opposite, where it just aligned perfectly. Like when we were in Egypt, there was this boat from Rome to the States that we were thinking about taking, but it just didn't really make a lot of sense because all of the flights were $400 each to get from Cairo to Rome. And we're umming and ahhing about this boat, and we both feel, I think we're supposed to just check flights one more time. And we check, and the flights were $16 each.
unreal.
And it worked perfectly with when we needed to leave Egypt because our visa was running out, to when we needed to be in the States. Like, it worked out so much better. And part of surrendering and releasing some of those like expectations is this belief that everything works out or okay. And it's also that you don't have to know step 10, that maybe it's just the one step ahead. We have never operated like that as a couple. We've always had these 5-10 year plans. So the last few years has really unraveled how much of our lives we were trying to control and how much pressure that was creating.
Yeah.
I think there's wisdom in it. Obviously, you want to dream and you want to set up and you want to work hard for things.
Totally.
But when you're doing that all in your own strength, and it's all dependent on how good you are or how hard you work, when things fall apart, that is a reflection on your worth. Like you've done the wrong thing.
Yeah.
As opposed to things happen in life.
Exactly. And we can hold the nuance of that.
And the mystery.
Yeah. That there's more outside of our control than inside of our control.
Yes.
Like the actual ability that we have to control our lives is tiny.
And isn't that just freedom?
Oh, it's profound.
Because it means that when bad things happen, we don't have to understand it. We don't have to find someone to blame. It's this beautiful acceptance.
Yeah.
Like even with the house stuff, it's so tiny in the scheme of world events. And
our
yet,
floorboards got wet.
yeah, exactly. Like, yes, it's a pain. It's stressful, blah, 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 blah. But I'm also like, imagine, I wonder what God has up his sleeve here. Not that I think he created this problem, but I just have seen too many times now that it works out way better than you can imagine.
Totally.
And I feel like that's our life in general. We're still in this weird uncertainty phase.
Yeah.
We're doing one step at a time.
Yep.
And we feel like we've been in the wilderness the last few years.
Totally. And I think to sum up so much of this, it's releasing a clear expectation of what something looks like.
Yeah.
And just having a joyful expectancy that whatever it is, it's going to be pretty good.
Well, and that's the crazy thing, because we both are, emotional health consultants now. So much of my trauma, like healing of trauma and your healing of trauma, has come through this somatic work and this experiencing what's inside. And it's actually created more freedom. I think in the emotional health space, it can be really messy and you see people just become victims to their life. Whereas the tools we've now learned about how to recognize and accept our internal world has created an autonomy and a powerfulness that isn't reliant on things working out well. And it's not reliant on, I don't know. I guess I'm just thinking about this holding surrender and this working hard and dreaming and preparing for things, because there's wisdom in that. It's a gentle coupling, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
I don't know if I'm explaining that well.
No, you're doing quite well. It's precious as we work out these words. And it's okay. And even in these conversations, we would love to say that we would be so articulate and have the perfect things to say. But there's such beauty in just having a raw conversation. Because that's what we do with friends and with family all the time, we don't sit and lecture at people. We don't.
Well, I just think, there's a bravery even in starting a podcast, because I have really wrestled and not wanted to do this. Why would I want to put myself out there and have things? And I know now, I've been on social media. I know that the littlest things, your intentions are questioned, they're twisted. People will find fault with whatever you say. And this fear of not being seen or being misunderstood is a huge trigger for me. So,
Yeah.
but there's peace on this, and it is this one step forward.
Absolutely.
Perhaps it is just for you and I to have these beautiful conversations that really start to flesh out some of the things we've really processed through and learnt the last decade.
Yeah.
If it helps someone, I'm so excited by that.
Oh,
I hope
absolutely.
it brings more curiosity and questions about things.
Absolutely.
But I think one of the greatest things we've learnt the last few years is that nothing is certain, and that we want to be disillusioned.
Yeah. Yeah. Man, that's a rough statement though. Because
Yeah, it's
when
do I
when
want
you
to be?
break the illusion, you've got to actually confront the reality of what we're internally holding on to. Like,
Yeah.
confront the reality that as much as I'd like to say I have security in who I am, or like the position in life that we've reached, or
The money
the
we make.
identity that we have in what we do and how we show up, it's like, do I actually?
Yeah.
It's a pretty wild thing. And so then we go, what can we hold on to? And there's actually a lot of freedom in it, because when we can go, okay, well, the only thing I can hold on to is that I'm loved, and that I have a God who unconditionally accepts me and chooses me.
That I don't have to change or be better or like perform in a certain way
Yeah.
and that it's unchanging.
Yeah. I can just be me.
Yeah.
And this is how we want our kids to grow up with our parenting as well, is it's like, no, you don't need to perform for us. You don't need to be something in particular for our benefit. The only way that you can be loved is just to be yourself.
So then the disillusion part, I think there is a brutality to it, and there's a process, because suddenly all the pillars that made up what made you safe, you now look at and be like, well, that's no longer safe, because I know in a second things can change.
My house could get flooded.
Totally. But even like our relationship or, health wise, what it does is you then either stop there and think, oh my gosh, nothing is safe. My life sucks. It's all, terrible. Or you start then noticing and rewiring your brain to see safety and opportunity everywhere. And you, what were you going to say?
No, well, you start to recognize that despite all of that lack of security, you can be okay.
Yes, it's not reliant on anything,
Yeah.
which is so powerful, because it means anything could happen in life and you would be okay.
Yeah. It's
even
profound.
to death, right? Like having to think through those processes.
Yeah.
I think we've really learnt, we call them safety cues. It's accessing a security no matter where you are, what's happening. It's like sitting here on this chair. I can think right now something is holding me, that it's soft and comfortable. And I notice my nervous system just take a deep breath, that there's no one trying to break in and hurt us right now, that there's not bombs dropping. There's so much oxygen. You start to train your way of thinking, and it's profound.
Yeah.
It's gratitude. It's very similar to gratitude, because it is a gratefulness. And when you continue pursuing that, you see more of it. And I think more of that comes. It's the sowing and reaping principle.
Absolutely. So I was going to ask, like, what is something that people can do before displacement or disruption happens? And I think that's it. Like,
yes.
Sinking back into the gratefulness of this moment right now.
Gratitude. So
reflecting on the moments where things have shifted and changed, even small or big, and going, and actually I can see that things maybe worked out better or differently than how I would have expected.
Yes.
And even if it didn't work out beautifully, are you still okay?
Yes.
Yeah. Maybe part of you
and
is.
even if you're not okay, you will be.
Yeah.
This emotional up and down, this emotional wave, we call it, that that enough intense emotions have happened that we've sat with, that we know you hit the peak and we just got to ride that and it's going to be okay. Instead of finding some protector or distraction that's actually super unhealthy and causes more pain, it's an ability to sit with the discomfort and really excruciating pain. Learning to do that has been a game changer.
Yeah.
Because no matter what is happening, you can still be with you and access the help you need. I mean, there's obviously a ton of tools and tricks, just even going for a walk and bare feet outside and like all the basic things that we do every single day. But like I was even thinking practically having routine and things that do trigger safety. So for me, when we're traveling, I have like a little portable fan.
Yeah.
That noise being there indicates safety.
But then the flip side of that, not having so much routine that we aren't able to actually shift and change.
Yes.
And so like if you do have a great set routine, beautiful, but then go, oh, I'm going to walk a different pathway today, or I'm going to drive a different way to work.
Yes.
Or I'm going to
Yes.
choose to cook something different on this night, even though that's the night we normally cook this.
Yeah.
Or have a different interaction with somebody today.
You're allowing a little bit of disruption to your routine, but it's a discomfort. Essentially, you're allowing discomfort to tell your body, see, we can be okay.
Yeah. And that builds resilience.
Yes. This is such a fun conversation. So please subscribe.
Like, share.
Share, guys.
To be honest, we'd love more questions.
Yeah.
If you've got questions around this topic or any of the other things that we're talking about, please hit us up, send us a message, and we'll talk soon.
Bye.
See ya.